What if I told you that the biggest thing standing between you and the life you want is not your circumstances, not your background, not your lack of resources, but the way you think about work? What if the very mindset you have right now is either building your future or quietly destroying it? Most people spend their lives chasing motivation. They wait for the perfect moment, the right opportunity, the spark that will suddenly change everything. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, they'll push harder next week. They'll commit when conditions improve. But tomorrow turns into months, turn into years. And before they realize it, they are a life they never intended to settle for. The truth is brutal, but it needs to be heard. Success does not belong to the most talented. It does not belong to the luckiest. It belongs to those who develop an unshakable relationship with hard work, not occasional effort, not temporary discipline, a deep, relentless obsession with growth. And here is where psychology changes everything. Your brain is designed to seek comfort. It wants safety, ease, and immediate rewards. It resists pain, uncertainty, and delayed gratification. That means every time you choose comfort over challenge, you are reinforcing patterns that keep you average. You are training yourself to avoid the very discomfort required for transformation. But when you repeatedly choose effort over ease, discipline over distraction, and purpose over pleasure, you begin to rewire your mind. You stop seeing hard work as punishment and start seeing it as power. You reshape your identity, and identity is everything. Because once hard work becomes part of who you are, consistency no longer feels forced. It becomes natural. You do not debate whether to show up, you simply do. You do not wait for motivation. You act because action defines you. That's the hidden truth behind every great success story. What looks like extraordinary achievement on the outside is often the result of ordinary actions repeated with uncommon commitment. The difference is not in the action itself. It is in the mindset driving it. Most people quit because they focus on results too soon. They expect immediate rewards for short-term effort. When progress feels slow, they lose faith. But the ones who rise understand a deeper principle. Transformation happens long before results are visible. The process is working even when the outcome is not obvious. This is why obsession matters. Obsession keeps you moving when others stop. It keeps your standards high when excuses feel easy. It creates a psychological edge because your goal is no longer optional. It becomes essential. And once that shift happens, everything changes. You stop chasing success as something external and start building internally. Your habits strengthen, your discipline sharpens, and your resilience deepens. The world begins to see the results, but what they do not understand is that the real victory happened in your mind first. Because before you conquer your goals, you must conquer yourself. And if you are ready to understand what it truly takes to become obsessed with hard work, if you are ready to break the mental patterns that keep most people stuck, then stay with me. Because what comes next may completely change the way you see your life, your potential, and your future. Commitment to the grind is what separates people who dream from people who achieve. Everybody talks about wanting success. Everybody says they want to win, to build something meaningful, to reach the highest version of themselves. But wanting something and committing to the process of earning it are two completely different things. The truth is, success is not built in big moments. It is built in small, repeated actions that happen every single day. It is built when you choose discipline over excuses, effort over comfort, and consistency over convenience. A lot of people believe success comes from one breakthrough moment. They think there will be one day where everything changes instantly. But real transformation does not happen overnight. It happens in the unseen hours. It happens in the mornings when you wake up before everyone else. It happens when you keep going even when no one is clapping for you. It happens when you continue to put in the work despite not seeing immediate results. That is what commitment to the grind truly means. It means understanding that greatness is not a destination you arrive at suddenly. It is a lifestyle you build deliberately. The grind is not glamorous. It is not always exciting. In fact, most of the time it feels repetitive, exhausting, and thankless. But that is exactly why commitment matters. Anyone can work hard when motivation is high. Anyone can chase a goal when they are inspired. But commitment is what keeps you moving when motivation fades. Commitment is what pushes you to keep showing up on the days you feel tired, discouraged, or uncertain. It is the decision to stay loyal to your purpose, no matter how difficult the road becomes. There will be moments when you question whether it is worth it. There will be times when progress feels invisible. You will work, sacrifice, and struggle, yet the results may seem far away. That is where most people quit. They stop because they expected immediate rewards. They confuse effort with entitlement, believing that because they worked hard for a short period, success should come quickly. But commitment to the grind teaches patience. It reminds you that meaningful success takes time. It requires persistence. It requires faith in the process, even when the outcome is not yet visible. Consistency is the foundation of commitment. It is not about doing something extraordinary once in a while. It is about doing the necessary work every day, regardless of mood or circumstance. Small efforts repeated over time create massive results. One workout will not transform your body, but months of disciplined training will. One study session will not make you an expert, but years of learning practice will. One business decision will not guarantee success, but countless smart, consistent choices will build something lasting. Commitment is about trusting that daily effort compounds into extraordinary achievement. Many people underestimate the power of routine. They chase intensity instead of sustainability. They push hard for a week, then disappear for a month. They rely on bursts of energy rather than building habits that endure. But the grind is not about occasional hustle. It is about creating systems that keep you moving forward, even when life becomes challenging. Commitment means building a rhythm that aligns with your goals and sticking to it relentlessly. Sacrifice is also part of the grind. Commitment demands giving up things that do not serve your vision. It may mean less entertainment, fewer distractions, and more focus. It may mean saying no to comfort so you can say yes to growth. Every goal requires trade-offs. You cannot expect extraordinary results while living an ordinary routine. If you want more, you must be willing to invest more. Time, energy, discipline, and patience are the currencies of success. The grind also develops character. It shapes who you become. Through consistent effort, you learn resilience, discipline, humility, and strength. The process changes you in ways that the final achievement never could. The struggle teaches lessons that success alone cannot provide. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, sharpen your mindset, and grow beyond your limitations. Commitment to the grind is not only about reaching your goals, it is about becoming the kind of person capable of sustaining them. One of the hardest parts of commitment is continuing without external validation. Often your greatest efforts will go unnoticed. People may not understand your vision. They may doubt your path or criticize your dedication. But true commitment is internal. It does not depend on applause, recognition, or approval. It comes from a deep understanding of why you started and where you are headed. When your purpose is strong enough, outside opinions lose their power. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from commitment. When you know you are putting in the work every day, you develop trust in yourself. You stop relying on luck because you understand that preparation creates opportunity. You stop fearing challenges because you know your effort has equipped you to handle them. Commitment builds self-respect because you know you are honoring your potential rather than wasting it. The grind is not about being perfect. There will be setbacks, failures, and mistakes. Commitment does not mean never struggling. It means refusing to stop because of struggle. It means learning, adjusting, and continuing forward. Progress is rarely linear. Some days will feel productive, while others may feel like setbacks. But as long as you remain committed, every experience becomes part of your growth. In the end, commitment to the grind is about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. It is about understanding that success is earned through sustained effort, not handed out through wishful thinking. You wishful thinking. It is about embracing the daily process, even when it is difficult, because you know every step matters. The people who achieve greatness are not always the most talented or the most fortunate. Often they are simply the most committed. Now, they understand that showing up every day, putting in the work, and staying consistent is what creates extraordinary outcomes. They do not chase shortcuts because they know lasting success is built, not borrowed. Commitment to the grind is a mindset. It is the refusal to settle. It is the willingness to do what others will not, for as long as it takes. It is the discipline to keep moving when excuses are easy. It is a belief that every day is an opportunity to get closer to your vision. And when you truly embrace that commitment, something powerful happens. Hard work stops feeling like a burden and starts becoming a part of who you are. The grind is no longer something you endure, it becomes something you value. Because you understand that within the process lies your transformation, your strength, and ultimately your success. Sacrificing comfort for progress is one of the most important principles for anyone who wants to grow, achieve, and transform their life. The reality is simple. Comfort and progress rarely exist in the same place. If you stay where things are easy, familiar, and predictable, you may feel secure, but you will also remain unchanged. Growth demands movement, and movement often requires stepping into uncertainty, discomfort, and challenge. Human nature naturally seeks comfort. We are wired to avoid pain and pursue ease. We prefer routines that feel safe, environments we understand, and choices that require minimal risk. Comfort gives us a sense of stability, but it can also become a trap. When we become too attached to comfort, we stop stretching ourselves. We stop exploring our potential. We settle for what is familiar rather than striving for what is possible. Progress begins the moment you challenge that instinct. It starts when you choose discipline over indulgence, action over hesitation, and long-term rewards over short-term pleasure. Sacrificing comfort does not mean living a miserable life. It means being willing to give up temporary ease in exchange for meaningful growth. It means understanding that discomfort is not an enemy. It is often the very signal that you are evolving. Every major achievement requires sacrifice. Athletes wake up early, train relentlessly, and push through physical exhaustion. Entrepreneurs risk financial stability and endure uncertainty while building something from nothing. Students sacrifice leisure and entertainment to master difficult subjects. Artists spend countless hours refining their craft, often without immediate recognition. Behind every visible success lies invisible sacrifice. The challenge is that sacrifice is rarely glamorous. It often involves choices no one else sees, turning down distractions to focus on your goals, saying no to opportunities that do not align with your purpose, spending time practicing while others are relaxing, delaying gratification while the world celebrates instant rewards. These decisions may seem small, but over time they create the difference between those who progress and those who remain stagnant. Comfort can disguise itself as harmless. It whispers that you deserve a break, that you can start tomorrow, that one more delay will not matter. It convinces you to stay where things feel easy. But progress does not come from convenience. It comes from consistent effort, often in moments when you least feel like giving it. The problem is not comfort itself. It's allowing comfort to control your decisions. When you prioritize comfort above all else, you begin to trade your future for your present. You choose immediate satisfaction over long-term achievement. This can happen in every area of life. In health, comfort chooses rest over exercise and unhealthy habits over discipline. In career, comfort chooses security over opportunity and routine over innovation. In relationships, comfort chooses avoidance over difficult conversations that could strengthen connection. In personal growth, comfort chooses staying the same rather than confronting fears. Progress requires courage because it asks you to leave behind what feels safe. It asks you to embrace the unknown. That can be intimidating because uncertainty often brings fear. What if the sacrifice is not worth it? What if the sacrifice is not worth it? What if the outcome does not match the effort? These questions can keep people stuck for years, but the truth is that staying comfortable carries its own cost. The cost of unrealized potential, unfulfilled dreams, and regret. Discomfort, on the other hand, is where transformation happens. It is in the difficult workout that your body grows stronger. It is in the challenging project that your skills expand. It is in the uncomfortable conversation that relationships deepen. It is in the risks you take that your life changes. Discomfort stretches your limits and reveals capabilities you never knew you had. One of the most valuable mindset shifts is learning to see discomfort as a sign of progress rather than a warning to stop. Too often, people interpret difficulty as evidence they are on the wrong path. In reality, struggle is often proof that you are challenging yourself in meaningful ways. The path to excellence is not smooth. It is demanding, uncertain, and filled with obstacles. But those obstacles are part of the process. Sacrificing comfort also teaches resilience. When you regularly choose challenge over ease, you build mental toughness. You become less dependent on ideal circumstances and more capable of adapting to adversity. This resilience becomes one of your greatest strengths because life will inevitably present hardships. Those who have trained themselves to embrace discomfort are better prepared to handle setbacks and continue moving forward. There is also a deeper reward in sacrifice, self-respect. When you consistently choose what is necessary over what is easy, you develop trust in yourself. You know you can rely on your discipline, not just your emotions. This creates confidence rooted in action rather than external validation. You begin to see yourself as someone who can overcome challenges and stay committed to a purpose. However, sacrifice should always be intentional. Not every hardship leads to progress. The key is aligning your sacrifices with your goals and values. Giving up comfort for something meaningless will only create frustration. But sacrificing for a purpose you deeply believe in transforms the experience. It gives the struggle meaning. It reminds you that every challenge serves a greater vision. It is also important to understand that sacrifice is not permanent. The discomfort you endure today creates opportunities for comfort and freedom later. The discipline you practice now can lead to a healthier body, financial stability, stronger relationships, and greater fulfillment. Temporary sacrifice often produces lasting rewards. Many people admire success but underestimate the price required to achieve it. They see the results but not the years of discomfort behind them. What they fail to realize is that the willingness to sacrifice comfort is often the defining factor. Talent, intelligence, and resources matter, but without the courage to step beyond what feels easy, potential remains unrealized. Ultimately, sacrificing comfort for progress is about choosing growth over stagnation. It is about understanding that your future is shaped by the decisions you make in the present. Every time you choose discipline over convenience, you invest in the person you want to become. The journey is not always pleasant, but is meaningful. It challenges you, strengthens you, and expands you, strengthens you, and expands you. And over time, what once felt uncomfortable becomes your new normal. You realize that growth itself becomes rewarding. The pursuit of progress becomes part of your identity. In the end, comfort may provide temporary peace, but progress creates lasting fulfillment. The life you truly want will require sacrifices, risks, and effort. The question is not whether discomfort will be part of the journey. It will be. The question is whether you are willing to embrace it in exchange for the future you desire. Because on the other side of comfort lies the life you are capable of building. No shortcuts, only results is a principle that challenges one of the biggest illusions in modern life. The belief that success can be achieved quickly, easily, and without paying the full price of effort. People often search for hacks, secrets, and fast tracks because the idea of immediate achievement is appealing. It promises reward without struggle, recognition without sacrifice, and success without patience. But reality does not work that way. True and lasting results are never built on shortcuts. They are built on discipline, consistency, and a willingness to do the hard work that others try to avoid. Shortcuts create the illusion of progress, but they rarely produce substance. They may deliver temporary gains, but those gains often lack stability. When something is achieved without the necessary process, it becomes difficult to sustain. A person who rises quickly without developing the skills, habits, and resilience needed for long-term success often struggles to maintain what they have gained. This is because the process is not just about reaching a goal. It is about becoming capable of carrying the responsibility that comes with it. Results, on the other hand, are earned. They come of repeated action over time. They reflect the energy, focus, and commitment invested into a goal. Real results are not accidental. They are deliberate. They come from understanding that every meaningful achievement requires preparation, practice, and persistence. In a world driven by instant gratification, patience has become rare. Social media, advertising, and popular culture often glorify overnight success stories, making it seem as though greatness appears suddenly. What is rarely shown are the years of unseen effort behind those moments. The late nights, the failures, the sacrifices, and the relentless repetition that built the foundation. People admire the visible result, but overlook the invisible work. This creates unrealistic expectations. Individuals begin to believe that if success does not come quickly, they are doing something wrong. They become discouraged when results take time. Instead of trusting the process, they abandon it in search of easier alternatives. This cycle leads to frustration because shortcuts promise speed but rarely deliver fulfillment. The truth is that the path to excellence is often slower than expected. Progress is usually incremental, not dramatic. Improvement happens through small, consistent steps that accumulate over time. One workout does not transform a body, but months of disciplined training do. One practice session does not create mastery, but years of repetition and refinement do. One business decision does not guarantee success, but countless thoughtful choices can build something extraordinary. The challenge is that gradual progress can feel invisible. Humans are drawn to dramatic change because it is easier to notice, but sustainable results are often quiet. They happen beneath the surface, long before they become visible. This is why trust in the process is essential. You must continue putting in the work even when the rewards are not immediate. Shortcuts often stem from fear, the fear of effort, of failure, or of time. People seek easier paths because they want to minimize discomfort, but avoiding discomfort also limits growth. The lessons learned through struggle are often the very qualities needed for long-term success. Resilience, discipline, humility, and perseverance cannot be developed through ease. They are forged in challenge. There's also a deeper issue with shortcuts. They focus on the destination rather than the transformation. Success is not only about reaching a milestone, it is about who you become along the way. The process shapes your character. It teaches you how to handle setbacks, how to remain disciplined, and how to adapt under pressure. These qualities are often more valuable than the result itself. When you chase shortcuts, you miss the opportunity to develop these strengths. You may achieve something faster, but you remain unprepared for the demands that follow. This is why many quick wins collapse under pressure. They lack the foundation necessary to endure. Results built through effort carry a different kind of value. They create confidence because you know what it took to achieve them. They build self-respect because you earn them honestly. They provide stability because they rest on skills and habits rather than luck or circumstance. This kind of success is not fragile, it is durable. Another important truth is that results require ownership. There's no one else to blame or credit for your progress. Your choices, actions, and mindset determine your outcomes. This can feel heavy, but it is also empowering. It means your future is not dependent on shortcuts, trends, or external approval. It is shaped by the work you are willing to do. Ownership shifts the focus from what is easiest to what is necessary. Instead of asking how quickly something can be achieved, you ask what must be done to build it properly. This mindset values quality over speed, depth over appearance, and substance over shortcuts. In every field, those who achieve lasting greatness understand this principle. Athletes trust training over quick fixes. Entrepreneurs build systems instead of chasing temporary gains. Artists dedicate years to refining their craft rather than seeking instant recognition. Leaders develop wisdom through experience, not titles. They understand that the process cannot be skipped. This does not mean efficiency is unimportant. Working smarter matters, learning from others, using effective strategies, and optimizing your efforts are all valuable, but efficiency is different from avoidance. Smart work still requires effort. It enhances the process rather than replacing it. The danger lies in believing there's a path that eliminates the need for commitment. There is no strategy that substitutes for discipline. No shortcut can replace consistency. No hack can outperform long-term dedication. Ultimately, no shortcuts, only results is about embracing reality. It is about accepting that meaningful success requires time, patience, and effort. It is about rejecting the illusion of easy achievement and choosing the path of deliberate growth. This mindset creates freedom because it removes false expectations. You stop searching for secret formulas and start focusing on the fundamentals. You understand that mastery is built, not borrowed. You commit to the work because you know it is the only reliable path. And when the results finally come, they are not just external achievements. They are proof of the discipline, resilience, and character you developed along the way. They reflect who you have become through the process. In the end, shortcuts may offer temporary satisfaction, but only results create lasting impact. The difference is not just in what you achieve, it is in the strength of the foundation beneath it. Results earned through effort endure because they are built on truth, not illusion. The journey may be longer, harder, and less glamorous than shortcuts promise, but it is also more meaningful, more rewarding, and far more sustainable. Because when you commit to the work, you are not just chasing outcomes, you are building a life and a legacy that can stand the test of time. Obsession fuels consistency, because when something becomes deeply important to you, it stops being an occasional priority and becomes a central part of your life. The difference between casual interest and true obsession is commitment. Interest fades when challenges appear, but obsession remains steady because it is tied to identity, purpose, and desire. When you are obsessed with a goal, you do not need constant reminders to pursue it. You wake up with it on your mind. You structure your life around it, and you keep moving toward it regardless of obstacles. Consistency is often misunderstood as simply repeating actions over time. While repetition matters, true consistency is sustained by emotional investment. If your connection to your goal is weak, your effort will likely be inconsistent. You may work hard for short periods, but when difficulties arise, distractions appear, or motivation drops, your commitment will waver. Obsession changes its dynamic. It creates an internal drive so strong that your actions become automatic. You no longer rely on fleeting motivation because your purpose is deeply rooted. Many people struggle with consistency because they approach their goals with temporary enthusiasm rather than long-term devotion. They start with energy inspired by possibilities, but that excitement often fades when progress becomes slow or the work becomes repetitive. This is natural when the goal is treated as a passing interest. Obsession, however, transforms the relationship. It shifts your focus from excitement to dedication. The work becomes part of who you are rather than something you do only when convenient. When you are obsessed, discipline becomes easier because the goal matters too much to neglect. You understand that every missed opportunity, every wasted day, and every unnecessary distraction moves you further from what you desire. This awareness creates urgency. It sharpens your priorities and eliminates excuses. You become more intentional with your time, energy, and choices because your vision demands it. Obsession also strengthens resilience. Consistency is tested most when setbacks occur. Failure, criticism, fatigue, and uncertainty can break casual commitment. But obsession gives you the emotional endurance to continue. It reminds you why you started and why stopping is not an option. This mindset allows you to recover faster, adapt more effectively, and persist longer than others. There's a reason the highest achievers often describe themselves as consumed by their craft. They are not merely participating in their field, they are devoted to it. Their obsession drives them to practice when others rest, to study when others celebrate, and to improve when others settle. This relentless commitment creates consistency, and consistency compounds into mastery. However, obsession must be directed wisely. Unfocused obsession can become destructive if it lacks purpose or balance. The key is channeling it toward meaningful goals that align with your values and long-term vision. Healthy obsession is not about burnout or neglecting every other area of life. It is about cultivating an intense, purposeful dedication that fuels disciplined action. One of the most powerful effects of obsession is that it transforms effort into identity. Instead of saying, I am trying to be successful, you begin to see yourself as someone who lives with purpose and discipline. This identity shift is crucial because behavior follows self-perception. When you view hard work as part of who you are, consistency becomes natural. You no longer negotiate with yourself about whether to act. You simply do what aligns with your standards. Identity-driven consistency is far more sustainable than motivation-driven effort. Motivation is emotional and temporary. It rises and falls based on circumstances. Identity is stable. It provides a framework for action even when emotions fluctuate. Obsession strengthens identity by keeping your purpose constantly present in your mind. Another important element is focus. Obsession reduces distractions because it clarifies what matters most. In a world full of competing demands, consistency requires the ability to say no to what does not serve your mission. Obsession makes these decisions easier because your priorities are clear. You stop chasing every opportunity and instead commit fully to the path that aligns with your goals. This focus creates momentum. Each consistent action builds progress, and progress reinforces commitment. Over time, the cycle becomes self-sustaining. The more you invest, the more connected you feel to the process. The stronger your connection, the easier it becomes to remain consistent. Obsession and consistency feed each other, creating a powerful engine for achievement. It is also important to understand that obsession does not eliminate difficulty. The work remains demanding. There will still be moments of exhaustion. What changes is your willingness to endure those challenges. Obsession gives meaning to the struggle. It makes sacrifice worthwhile because you are deeply connected to the outcome. People often admire consistency without recognizing the mindset behind it. They see someone showing up every day and assume it is a matter of willpower. But behind sustained effort is often a profound emotional commitment. The person is not forcing themselves to continue. They are driven by something they care about intensely. This is why finding a purpose that genuinely matters is essential. Manufactured goals rarely sustain obsession. If your objective is based solely on external validation or comparison, your commitment may weaken over time. But when the goal resonates with your values, aspirations, and sense of purpose, obsession becomes natural. Consistency fueled by obsession leads to long-term transformation. It produces not only external success, but also personal growth. Through repeated effort, you develop habits, skills, and character traits that shape who you become. The process changes you in lasting ways. Over time, what began as obsession becomes excellence. The repeated actions refine your abilities, deepen your understanding, and strengthen your resilience. The very thing that once required conscious effort becomes second nature. This is how mastery is built, not through sporadic brilliance, but through unwavering consistency sustained by obsession. In the end, obsession fuels consistency because it creates a connection so strong that effort becomes inevitable. It transforms goals into priorities into habits, into identity. It keeps you moving when motivation fades and challenges arise. The world often celebrates talent, but consistency is what unlocks potential. And consistency at its highest level is powered by obsession. Not a reckless fixation, but a disciplined, purposeful devotion to something that matters deeply. When you become obsessed with growth, with excellence, and with your vision, consistency stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes the natural expression of who you are. And through that relentless commitment, extraordinary results become possible at mastering. The process is one of the most powerful concepts in personal growth and achievement because it shifts your attention from outcomes to action. Most people become fixated on results. They focus on the goal, the reward, the recognition, or the finish line. While goals are important, an unhealthy attachment to results can create frustration, impatience, and inconsistency. The truth is that success is rarely achieved by obsessing over the destination alone. It is achieved by learning to value, refine, and commit to the daily process that leads there. The process is everything that happens between where you are now and where you want to be. It is the repeated habits, routines, decisions, and efforts that shape progress over time. Mastering the process means understanding that these daily actions are not secondary to success. They are the foundation of it. Without a strong process, goals remain wishes rather than realities. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that happiness or fulfillment will arrive only after achieving a milestone. They postpone satisfaction until they reach a certain level of success, income, status, or recognition. This mindset creates a constant cycle of chasing without appreciating the journey. Even when goals are reached, fulfillment often feels temporary because the deeper relationship with the process was never developed. When you master the process, your perspective changes. You begin to see meaning in the work itself, not just in the eventual reward. You understand that every repetition, every challenge, and every disciplined action is valuable. The journey stops feeling like something to endure and starts becoming something to embrace. This shift is crucial because goals can take months or years to achieve. If your motivation depends entirely on the outcome, you may lose momentum during the long periods when results are not yet visible. But if you learn to appreciate the process, you remain engaged regardless of immediate reward. The daily work becomes its own source of satisfaction. Mastering the process also reduces anxiety. When you are overly focused on outcomes, you may become consumed by factors beyond your control. You worry about timelines, competition, and external validation. This can create stress and undermine performance. The process, however, is within your control. You can choose how you prepare, how you practice, and how consistently you show up. By centering your energy on controllable actions, you create stability. You stop chasing uncertainty and start building confidence through execution. This mindset allows you to remain grounded even in high-pressure situations because your focus is on what you can do in the present moment. Another important aspect of mastering the process is refinement. Success is not only about repeating actions, but improving them. A process should evolve as you gain experience and insight. This requires reflection, feedback, and a willingness to adjust. The goal is not mindless repetition, but intentional progress. For example, an athlete does not simply train harder. They analyze technique, recover strategically, and adapt routines for better performance. A business owner does not just work longer hours. They refine systems, improve decision-making, and optimize efficiency. A student does not only study more, they experiment with methods that deepen understanding. Mastery comes from deliberate practice, not just persistence. This refinement builds excellence. Over time, small improvements compound into significant advancement. The process becomes more effective, and your abilities grow stronger. What once felt difficult becomes manageable, and what once seemed impossible becomes attainable. Mastering the process also teaches patience. In a world that values speed, it is easy to become discouraged by gradual progress. But meaningful growth often unfolds slowly. Skills develop over years, not days. Transformation happens through accumulation, not instant breakthroughs. Patience does not mean passivity. It means trusting that consistent effort will produce results in time. It means resisting the urge to abandon the process simply because success has not arrived quickly. Those who master the process understand that progress is often invisible before it becomes obvious. This patience strengthens resilience. Setbacks become part of the journey rather than signs of failure. When you value the process, challenges are seen as opportunities to learn rather than reasons to quit. Mistakes provide information, obstacles build strength, and difficulties deepen commitment. Another powerful result of mastering the process is identity transformation. Over time, your habits shape who you become. The disciplined actions you repeat daily begin to define your character. You are no longer someone chasing success. You become someone who lives with excellence, focus, and intentionality. This identity shift is critical because sustainable achievement depends on who you are, not just what you do occasionally. Temporary effort may produce short-term gains, but long-term success requires lasting habits. The process creates those habits and reinforces them until they become natural. Mastering the process also creates freedom from external validation. When your satisfaction comes from the quality of your effort rather than others' approval, you become more independent and self-directed. You no longer need constant recognition to stay committed. The work itself becomes meaningful enough. This internal motivation is powerful because it is stable. External rewards may fluctuate, but intrinsic connection to the process endure. It keeps you moving even when progress is slow or recognition is absent. Many of the world's most accomplished individuals emphasize process over results because they understand its long-term value. They focus on preparation, discipline, and execution. They know the outcomes are often byproduct systems rather than isolated moments of achievement. This principle applies to every area of life. In relationships, the process is daily communication, trust building, and shared effort. In health, it is nutrition, exercise, and recovery habits. In career, it is continuous learning, adaptability, and consistent contribution. In personal growth, it is reflection, self-discipline, and intentional action. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your processes. Goals provide direction, but processes create reality. Ultimately, mastering the process means falling in love with the work that shapes success. It means valuing the journey as much as the destination. It means understanding that the daily grind is not separate from achievement. It is achievement in motion. When you embrace the process, success stops being something distant. It becomes something you live every day. Each action, each habit, and each challenge becomes part of your growth. And over time, the process does more than lead you to your goals. It transforms you into the kind of person capable of sustaining them. That is the true power of mastering the process. It is not just about what you achieve, but about who you become along the way. At the end of the day, everything comes down to one decision. Who are you going to become? Not tomorrow, not someday, not when life gets easier, but right now. Because the truth is, your future is being built in this very moment. Every choice you make, every habit you repeat, every excuse you entertain, and every challenge you face is shaping the person you will become. You have heard about commitment, sacrifice, discipline, obsession, and mastering the process. But none of it matters unless you apply it. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Inspiration without execution is empty energy. The world is full of people who know what they should do, but only a few are willing to do it consistently. The difference between average and extraordinary is not talent. It is not luck. It is not resources. It is the willingness to keep going when others stop. It is the ability to embrace discomfort while others seek convenience. It is the courage to stay loyal to your vision even when progress feels slow. This journey is not meant to be easy. If it were, everyone would achieve greatness. The struggle is part of the transformation. The setbacks, the failures, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt, they are not obstacles meant to break you. They are lessons meant to shape you. Every challenge is preparing you for a higher level of responsibility, strength, and success. But here's what you must understand. The process will test you. It will demand patience when you want results now. It will demand discipline when you feel tired. It will demand sacrifice when comfort calls your name. In those moments, you will discover whether your dream is a wish or a commitment. Because wishing changes nothing. Commitment changes everything. If you truly want to rise, you cannot treat your goals like hobbies. You must treat them like a mission. You must wake up every day with purpose, move with intention, and refuse to let distractions steal your focus. Your obsession with growth must become stronger than your attachment to comfort. And when that happens, everything shifts. Hard work is no longer something you force yourself to do. It becomes who you are. Discipline is no longer a burden, it becomes your power. The grind is no longer punishment, it becomes your path. The world does not reward potential, it rewards execution. It rewards those who show up, who stay consistent, and who refuse to quit. Your greatness is not hidden in what you dream about. It is revealed in what you repeatedly do. So when this video ends, do not just feel motivated. Make a decision, decide that your standards will rise. Decide that your excuses will end. Decide that your work ethic will become your identity. Because one day people will look at your life and call it success. But what they will not see are the sacrifices, the discipline, and the relentless commitment that made it possible. That part belongs to you. So keep grinding, keep evolving, and keep becoming. Because the version of you that you are fighting for is waiting. And it's worth every ounce of effort.